Council, also involved in Brent Stop the War. And since Stop the War was mentioned, I should mention something else that about 2 years ago, perhaps 3 years ago, we put a resolution to the Stop the War conference, which was accepted, saying that they should make a priority of calling a conference of trade union supporters of the Stop the War movement. We were still waiting. It was never held. And I think there's a whole lot of criticisms you make of the Stop the War leadership, which I don't think should lead to the conclusion of having nothing to do with your local Stop the War campaign. Certainly the people in our area, including I think the SWP members, don't agree with a lot of the things that are being done. So far as the question of why the SWP leadership and CPB people, Andrew Murray certainly, have conducted himself this way, I think they're so afraid of upsetting some of the people they've been trying to work with, like the Muslim Association of Britain and so on, that in fact they end up to the right of these people sometimes when it comes to dealing with events in the Middle East. But I think the other thing I want to say is that there are questions of contradictions in the ruling class, and also we shouldn't forget between imperialist powers. America doesn't so much need the oil in the Middle East, it wants control of the oil in order to be able to assure that it is the only superpower, and in fact to put Europe in its place and Japan in its place in terms of the world economy. And to a large extent they've been succeeding in doing that in the way the EU has backed down from taking any independent positions now on the Middle East. I think that I had some things to say on the amendments, but as regards the question Eric was putting forward, is it Eric? About, I admire your bravery, Eric, but I don't share your faith in the ruling class of this country or the United States. I'll just mention one name to you, Rachel Corrie. You know, the blonde-haired, blue eyes doesn't count for nothing when you're standing in the path of the enemy. And the young lad up the road here as well, cameraman who was shot in the head, not by crossfire, by a sniper, a marksman actually aiming for him in Palestine. So that is, you know, don't have illusions. But you don't need, if you want to stand up to imperialists, we don't need to go to Iran or to Iraq. They're here. I live between an American base on one side and Halliburton's offices on the other. And if I go the other way, I've got the NATO Strategic Command. And it's really, I mean, the real question is why the Stop the War movement, we've built up such strength, was so ineffective in actually mobilising. The best thing we can do to help people in Iran is actually step up the struggle against the government here and against the ruling class in this country.